During this demonstration, we will spend our time learning about today's more convenient 116A beef chuck roll. There are two key terms that you need to be familiar with during this animation: anterior and posterior. Anterior references the front of the animal, and posterior the rear of the animal. This area is towards the neck, and this side is towards the rib. The chuck is separated between the neck and the fifth and sixth rib. The chuck lies directly underneath the shoulder blade bone and is attached by a subscapularis muscle. The rhomboideus muscle is responsible for creating the hump of the animal. The chuck roll is known for its amazing beef flavor. In fact, according to the muscle profiling research, some of the most tender muscles of the animal are located in the chuck. We recommend separating the chuck into two unique subprimals called the 116D beef chuck eye roll, the top portion, that runs all the way back to the neck. Once we remove the 116D, we will expose the 116E, which is the underblade portion that rests under the shoulder blade of the chuck. Now let's see how we can add value to the chuck roll. The first step is to separate the chuck eye roll from the underblade. Start by locating the chuck eye on the cut face posterior or rib end of the chuck roll. If you are familiar with the chuck eye steak, you will recognize this cut. There is a heavy fat seam that runs between the chuck eye and the chuck underblade. We are going to follow that seam and carefully separate the underblade from the chuck eye. The first step is to follow the fat seam line. It will go all the way back. We carefully separate and pull it backwards. Start your knife using a small cut to begin the separation process. You should follow the seam closely and slowly through the fat seam. Be careful not to score the muscles on the internal surface. An important muscle to notice is the longissimus dorsi, which should remain attached to the chuck eye. Follow the seam until the separation is complete, and we finish pulling the chuck eye off the underblade. We now have two unique subprimals, the 116D chuck eye roll with its great beef flavor, and the 116E, the beef chuck underblade. Interestingly, the beef underblade contains the fourth most tender muscle in the beef animal, the serratus ventralis.